This photograph, it breaks almost every rule that you've learned about composition, and yet it works. Saul Leiter made images that defied the conventions of the time. They're soft, painterly, mysterious, somehow more alive than most photography today. How's it? Leiter was a New York photographer and a painter, but he's best known for using color at a time when everybody else was really photographing black and white. He spent decades quietly photographing his neighborhood, building up a body of work that really wouldn't be fully appreciated until quite late in his life. And today we're going to explore how he did it and how you can apply those same ideas into your own photography. Oh, I just got this book, Saul Leiter's Retrospective, and flipping through it, something hit me. These images feel more like paintings than photographs. And while he's well known now, especially here on YouTube, for most of his life, his body of work was practically invisible. Negative space and mystery play a huge role in his photographs. And we're going to start with this image here. Now, at first glance, it looks like a city skyline, a heavy black sky and tiny figures walking in the snow below. But then look a bit closer and you realize it's not a skyline at all. It's a shadow. It's a shadow cast by a parasol. And of course, once you see that, you can't unsee it. And then you realize that that is all empty negative space. It becomes heavy. It becomes pregnant with possibility. It's almost poetic. And then, right at the edge, you spot a tiny little tree just breaking the line. It's quiet, it's understated, but that tree changes everything in the photograph. Now this is Leiter using negative space, not just as an absence of anything, but as presence. That negative space gives the image purpose. It is giving the photograph room to breathe, to suggest. Now you can try this in your next photographs. Don't fill the frame with loads of things. Leave a bit of space, leave some ambiguity in there. Let the viewer do some of the work. So last year I'm in Duxford with my little lad. He's playing on the play park and the sun's coming down and it is casting this glorious light across one of the playground installations. And I thought, I will photograph into the sun. Look at the way it's bouncing off the wing of this play plane. The whole of that photograph is basically empty space, but it's got a place in there for you to read something in it. It evokes some sort of mystery in there. Now, this is not the greatest example of the world, of course, but it just goes to show that you can create these ideas in the most random of places. So give it a try next time you're out there. Oh God, I love Saul's framing. And look at this image. We're looking through a tiny slit. It's a car window, maybe. And within that slit, there is another car. And there's a man walking by. This is not by any sense of the word a traditional framing motif in a photograph. It is tight. It's almost claustrophobic. This is designed to make you look at something, a very specific thing in that picture. In addition to using these tight frames in a very bold, dramatic way, Leiter also crops in a way that makes most photography teachers probably wince. Subjects are crammed into the corners of the image, or they're just kind of slipping out of the frame. Everything that's supposed to be wrong, and yet it works. It creates tension. It makes the image feel like it is a moment pulled from something larger. Check out this fashion photo. The model's head is almost obscured by an awning. Now, it's important to note that Saul isn't cropping out of carelessness. These aren't happy accidents. He is cropping with purpose. He's cropping to make the image feel open-ended. He is drawing from influence that we'll get onto in a little moment. Now, the next time when you're framing a scene, ask yourself, like, what can you leave out? What happens if you crop boldly and let mystery do the rest? On that self-same trip to Duxford, there was a picture that I took up in the American Air Power section of a Mustang, and it's this wonderful sweeping concrete roof, which I absolutely love. But I thought for a moment, what happens if I throw the whole thing into silhouette, if I expose for the window outside? We know what a plane looks like. We understand the silhouette, we can recognize it. But then I thought, what if we have this giant broody blackness for that plane to shoot into? What happens to the image? How does that feel different? And I really like that effect. It works because the plane is cropped down off into the side. It's in a place where traditionally we would never think about putting what is allegedly the main subject of the image. It changes the perspective so much. Give it a try in your own pictures. Get things off onto the side. See what happens. Now, we can't really talk about Saul Leiter without mentioning colour, because this is where he absolutely comes alive. He's not just capturing what he's seeing, he is arranging the colours like a painter. Now, he's not just inspired by photographers. He wanted to be a painter when he was younger, and he loved painting, especially a group called the Nabis, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. It's a group of artists who believe that a picture, before anything else, is a flat surface with colours arranged in a certain order. And when you see this, this is exactly how Leiter is approaching photography. Look at this image. It's a red bus. It's layered over a storefront. It's layered again with reflections in the glass. Everything is flat. The space itself is collapsing. These images of Saul's are not about perspective. They're about rhythm. And you see this again and again in his work. It's flat fields of colour stacked up like brushstrokes. Even in everyday scenes, he breaks them down into shapes. This is because he's influenced by Japanese woodcuts. You know, those ones with the flattened perspective, the minimal form, all that empty space. This is leaching into his own photography, and he is putting this together in such a cunning way with such a simple technique that it almost embarrasses me to say that I would never have thought about it in a million years. But to apply this idea of colour in your own photography, don't photograph a colour photograph. Photograph the colour itself. Let the colour drive the composition, not the subject itself, not the story. So look at this photograph of the Umhlanga lighthouse from the Oyster Box Hotel down in South Africa. I'm not photographing the lighthouse. I'm not photographing the sea or the sky or the parasols. I'm photographing the colours, the reds, the whites, the blues. This is what's really holding this photograph together. It's got nothing to do with the subjects themselves. Another hallmark of Saul Leiter's photographs is that he made the most of bad weather. In fact, I would say some of his best photographs are taken in bad weather because he is photographing through windows. They've got rain, they've got condensation, they've got snow. Most importantly, it's softening the image. It's making it feel indistinct, almost like paint smears all over a canvas. And then you see all those droplets and those smears and those streaks, and it starts to bend the light in strange ways. Now, of course, this is not a flaw. This is the whole point of it. It is making that light feel liquid. So the next time that it rains, don't put your camera away. Shoot through it. Use foggy glass. Use raindrops, whatever. Just yesterday, I was in the car wash having prepped this video, and I was going, oh, look at this. This is so cool. The car wash had these weird LED lights on it. It's wonderful. It's the most boring everyday place, and yet there's something really beautiful that the light, the water are interacting and giving to us. Reflections are everywhere in Saul Leiter's work. He's using glass not just to see through and have rain on, but to see onto. Reality layered over itself. People melting into windows. signs blurring into buildings, shadows overlaying faces. His photographs are existing in 2 dimensions at once. This is absolute genius, and I wish I was better at it. But to improve myself, I need to look for reflections, not just to show myself or something in there, but to fold the world back on itself, to let those photographs become visual puzzles. When we were in Boston at the photo walk, here is an image by one of the guys called Wayne. And that's a beautiful photograph where all of these reflections are coming together when he is just bringing a simple idea to bear. You have these 2 faces. You have the reflection from behind. You have the reflection through the window. Now, throughout all of these images, there's been one technique that Saul's been using that brings all of this together. Going on the idea of the Japanese woodcuts with their flat perspective, Saul is using long lenses. 85mm, 135mm. And while most street photographers are swearing by 35mm, 50mm, Leiter is doing the opposite. And why? Because of that compression. Because long lenses, they flatten the space. They turn those 3 dimensions into 2. They take all those blobs of color and they build them up on the same plane to create these awesome photographs that he has. This is what his painterly eye is demanding. When you couple that with all the other ideas, the bold cropping, the empty spaces, the use of color, then you have the genius that is his work, which is why it stands out and it feels fresh even today. So the next time you're out and about, shooting a street, try it. See how the space compresses. When, again, we were in Boston, one of the photographers called Adam has photographed this stack of the buildings with a church in the background, and you can see it's a classic photograph, but apply that to your street photography and see what happens. You know, so the cropping, the color, the rain, the reflections, the long lenses, add all of that together and you have a new way of seeing, new way of working. It's not about capturing the moment. It's not about creating a mood. Leiter is reminding us that we can be slow, we can be soft, we can be poetic, and that can be just as powerful. Because for the most of his life, Saul Leiter made these images for himself. Not for a gallery, not for Instagram, not for a client. He made them because he loved making them. If you're looking for a place to grow that kind of photography, slowly, honestly, without pressure, then the TP Tribe might be exactly what you need. It's where we have real conversations, where we share work in progress and we support each other in seeing the world a little more deeply. There's a link in the show notes below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure to share Saul Leiter with you, and I'll see you again soon.